Hello and welcome to Spa-Francorchamps, deep in the Ardennes forests of Belgium. I'm Jonathan Green, and this is round 6 of the 2020 Trans Am by Pirelli Esports Championship. Now, with 3 rounds to go in the championship, it is absolutely on a knife edge with just 4 points between our championship leaders, Josh Hurley and Tyler Cassera. And it's been that way all season long. And now there are several other drivers all in the top 10 and all vying for position. And we've also got some new drivers and some great stories to bring you. We decided it was too easy for our professional drivers, so we've taken them to the hardest track in the world. No doubt about it, Spa-Francorchamps, one of the most challenging. Very few, I think just Boris said, besides some of the youngsters from our regular Trans Am field, possibly Ryquist, but certainly Boris said, has actually raced this circuit in anger in the real world. So this is going to be a vaunt into the unknown, into the darkest of all forests in many ways, because this has been a circuit that has so many times caught out some of the greats of driving. We are in the middle of qualifying, and we are looking at Edward Savagian in the back of this group, who is in the number 38 Big Machine Vodka car. Edward celebrating a victory last time out at Riverside. We went back to yesteryear and to California last week, and now we come to the mighty Spa. So we watch out for what Edward can do after his victory. And as you can see, as they come towards La Source, those famous named corners, no one will forget the Formula One pictures of massive crashes at that corner. And of course, that wide exit out of La Source down the hill towards the infamous Eau Rouge. Here it is. And we've been watching and a little bit of practice. Most of our drivers in 5th gear through there. But it's still very daunting. And obviously a chance to get a slipstream and an overtake down the Kemmel Straight into L'Écume, which is coming up right here. It's been an interesting 6 weeks so far. We had a practice race at Lime Rock, and then we went into the championship at Laguna Seca. And from there on in, it's been rough and tumble, fast and furious. And we've really looked forward to coming to Spa. This was 100% yes when this Spa course was talked about. Everybody said, yes, let's do it, including this man, Josh Hurley. In fact, there's been some smack talk already as to who and what the qualifying time will be. And Josh Hurley is chasing that. And both he and Cassera so far in practice were absolutely in a world of their own, some half a second quicker than anybody else in the field. So it could well be a Hurley and Cassera story yet again. But watch out for Ernie Francis Jr. He's only 19 points adrift in 3rd position, so it's anybody's game. We've got Bridgehampton coming up, and we've also got Lime Rock to finish out the year. So it's been a really interesting. And then we go for real as we go to Mid-Ohio at the end of June. So look forward to that. I want to remind you to download the app if you haven't already. Go to gotransam.com for all the news stories, but you can go there, download the app or the SVRA app, and that's where we'll be live streaming when we go to Mid-Ohio. And if we continue to do some e-racing, that'll be there too. But that is our modus operandi, so to speak. All identical Corvettes, you may notice. So no advantage for any of the drivers. It does make a difference, though, how many laps you do. And once again, it's that man, Scott Borchetta, who is the teammate to Edward Savagian, who tops the laps of 223. And that's a lot of laps around Spa, I can assure you. This, of course, one of the longest tracks on the Formula One calendar. And, of course, it's been the site of many a 24-hour race, and as well as motorcycle 24-hour race. I've actually done a motorcycle 24-hour race here as we look at Tyler Cassera in the number 4. And Cassera obviously lost the bet in the week because he shaved his head. I don't know what he lost, but he shouldn't be really betting with Josh Hurley because he's lost his hair over it. Or he was telling us in the driver's briefing he was just going for a bit of a slimmer cut, you know, aerodynamics and all with the Kemmel Straight. seems to be working for him. So let's just explain quickly on the rules as we take a look at the leaderboard, led by Thomas Merrill, 218.5 so far. Borchetta really doing a good job. Well, he's put the laps in, and now it's paying dividends, 219.9. Lawrence and White. But we have one qualifying session. Then we'll go into a 9-lap race around this famous circuit, and that will be followed by a reverse top 10 from race 1 into another 9-lap race, race 2. So 16 races in the whole championship, so still plenty of points up for grabs with 3 rounds and 6 races to go. And like I said at the top, just 4 points between Josh Hurley, who leads the championship, and Tyler Casera in 2nd place. Incidentally, Ernie Francis Jr., our current 6-time and current TA champion, but having won at Daytona and been Mr. Consistent, he's out there too. And here is a great story for you. Look at this. Juan Manuel Correa of Miami, Florida, America's top single-seater driver in Europe currently, sadly, was injured here at Spa last year. And this is his return to the circuit that almost caused him more problems than he could have imagined. And he's getting into more problems now as we speak. He's taking out the number 15 of Cliff White from Huntsville, Alabama. There's Tyler Casera. But this is a big moment for Juan Manuel Correa to come back to Spa. It may be in the virtual world, but if you don't think his mind is going to go back to that sad day in F2 when he was involved with the Antoine Hubert incident. So a very special day for him, and he's brought Picho Toledano and Javier Gonzalez from Mexico, 2 good friends of his, to support him in this race, and we welcome them too, as well as some of the other youngsters. We've also got a young Moroccan via Miami, Florida as well, and that is Michael Benyahia, a 19-year-old who is currently racing in e-racing at the moment, and delighted to have him on board. And I think what's going to be interesting is to see whether any of these young sim racers, as well as single-seater experts, can take on Josh, here he is, and Tyler Casera and make an impact into this race. Certainly Josh Hurley will be trying to stay out of the way of those drivers, get a lead and stay in that lead. With this being such a long track, I don't expect the racing to be that tight if you can get away. It will be a chance for slipstreaming through the Kemmel Straight and maybe through Blanchimont and down towards the bus stop. But generally speaking, I don't think it's going to be too tight a racing unless you're able to go wheel to wheel and use that slipstream. We shall see. It's been a brilliant season so far for Josh Hurley. He's been having a lot of fun with this. And in the real world, as well as being a racing driver, oh, that wasn't very polite. As well as being a racing driver, he does a lot of coaching and teaching. And Hurley just slows down, takes a little bit of a respite, catches his breath after that little incident. And now time running out with less than 1 minute to go in our qualifying. And Hurley has gone quicker so far, 2:16.6. Similar to his practice time. Casera second, 2:17.3. But Casera knows he can go quicker than that. He may have had some traffic in his last run. But both Hurley and Casera in practice were in the 2:16s. Racino does his quickest lap at 2:17.5. And Edwards of Agent goes second quickest, 2:17.3, but still not on the pace of Hurley yet. As we look at Ryquist, Carl Ryquist, the Swede turned American, racing back in Europe. He's already been to Barcelona. He'd raced there. I'm not sure if he's raced here in the real world, but he's done a lot of real world endurance racing. So odds are that he has been here before. And if he doesn't or hasn't, he'll have certainly done it on the sim. The one thing that you can be sure is that even if you're new to sim racing, Spa is on your bucket list of wanting to go around. It always is the case. I think Monaco, Spa, a few others, Watkins Glen, are absolute favourites around the world. And I just want to say, talking of around the world, thank you for tuning in to our E-Trans Am series. We had over 200,000 viewers last time out at Riverside for our walk back into yesteryear. There's Ernie Francis Jr. And currently in 6th position, a 2:17.5, but as you can see, he is officially pitted. And there's Wood going through Pouhon. These famous names of racing, and finally get to see Trans Am roar through the forests of Ardennes. I'd love to do this in the real world. I'm sure our drivers would too. I'm going to be joined by Ben Sissel. He's, I think he missed his bus from downtown Spa, so he's going to have to walk up the hill and try not to get too many flags and too many miniature cars, or stop at any of the nice brew houses along the way. And certainly don't stop for any of those mayonnaise fries. Those will slow you down. That's half a second a lap if you start eating those. I've been to this circuit many times, and we're blessed because this is the first time I've never seen it without rain. They say the people of Spa don't get old, they rust. Always seems to rain at some point in a 3-day weekend here for sure. We may get lucky though. We've got 2 short 9-lap races, and at the moment anyway, fingers crossed, Super Jens has not turned on the water fountains. Spa went through quite a lot of changes in the last 15 years or so, in the paddock especially. It was so cramped that they had to... The old pits were on the right here, going down the hill towards Radillon and Eau Rouge, and there is the famous Eau Rouge. It's so frightening, and there you just saw one driver getting it wrong there. But that concludes our qualifying, and it pretty much has gone to form. There's the new pit lane, and to the left is where the old pit lane was. But it is Hurley, 2:16.6, who takes the pole position, with Tyler Casera, 2:16.9, nothing really in it, 0.242. Edward Savagian did a really good lap towards the end there to take 3rd. Then it's Archer, Racino, Francis, the youngsters coming on strong. Merrill is 7th, Ryquist 8th. Benyahia is in 9th position. Benyahia is really the one we should be watching because he's coming in almost as a ringer this weekend, the 19-year-old from Morocco and Miami, Florida. In fact, his mother's from Belgium. Maybe he's got something we don't know about here with a little bit of a Belgium advantage. 10th is Southern. JP Southern in 10th, then Wood, Lopez, Borchetta, Allen, White, and Lawrence. That's your top 16. No real surprises. Juan Manuel Correa not showing as well as he had in practice, 2:26.5, and he may be just saving his powder for the race itself. So that's the qualifying. At the moment, it is Hurley in pole position for round 6 from Spa-Francorchamps. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back. Bonjour, mesdemoiselles et mon enfant. That's the best I can do in French. Welcome back to Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium as we get ready for round 6 of the 2020 Trans Am by Pirelli Esports Championship. Jonathan Green, and hopefully be joined by Ben Sissel, who's having to make a long way up from the village of Spa, and I don't think he's got his hire car, so he's going to have to do the walk, but we'll wait for him. But here we are. We are ready for what should be a cracking run here towards Eau Rouge for the first time. Josh Hurley will lead them down the hill for the first time, and this first corner is imperative to get right. Hurley leads them. Casera right there with him and Edward Savajian down the Kemmel Straight for the first time. 9 laps in all. And now the jostling for position begins as Hurley will try to hold them all off. Savajian in the all red looks to the inside as they come to Lecum for the first time. Hurley on the inside and Casera squeezes through. Yes! Through goes the number 4 on the number 3, and that's the championship in action right there. Casera 4 points adrift, but now goes into the lead. Savajian looking for a way past as Hurley drops to second place. Down towards Pouon for the first time. And that was a really, really intelligent move by Tyler Casera of Manheim, Pennsylvania, as they head down into Pouon. So they sort themselves out. It's Casera, Hurley, Savajian, Francis, Archer, Merrill, Racino, Southern, Ryquist, and Wood. Already the field starting to spread out. But that was a really good move by Casera. But now Hurley coming back at him as they head down towards the back of the circuit. Into Stavolo. And this is a key corner, Stavolo, because this is the long run from here, right at the back of the circuit. And it's basically flat out through Corbet-Paul-Frère, Blanchimont, and then down towards the famous bus stop chicane where literally you're going from 160 miles an hour down to about 30. There's JP Southern. He's got his own battle going on. He's side by side through Blanchimont. You can't do that in a Trans Am car, but he did it anyway. Great racing. Into that famous chicane then. And that's Michael Benyahia he was racing with there. Man from Miami, Florida, via Morocco. I believe his mother, I said she was Belgium, but she was a consul general in Miami, representing Belgium. So maybe they've pulled out the red carpet for him today. JP Southern down towards Eau Rouge. The former single-seater driver. And you saw a little bit of air there as he headed up the Kemmel Straight. That's Nick Racino, just behind JP Southern. 25 is Lawless Allen from Van Nuys, California. Our TA2 driver youngster. And coming side by side. And through goes Allen. Oh, a little bit of contact there. And round goes Lawless Allen. Well, that was a bit of a lawless move. Not sure if he'll get away with that one. And I'm talking about the red car. Was that Savajian or was it? Yes, I think it was Edward Savajian. No, it can't have been. It must have been Scott Borchetta because you could see Edward Savajian, here he is in third position. Man from Dallas, Texas, who took a win last time out at Riverside. Really impressive. He's had an interesting run as Edward. He swapped over to VR. It made him sick. He took everything, including ginger, to try to cure himself from motion sickness. Said he had it for 4 days, hated it. But he doesn't look as though he's sick at all right now. He looks as though he's in the throes of ecstasy going around this very famous circuit out of Stavolo. And it's somewhat eerie when you are at Spa because you really are in the middle of nowhere. I say the forests of Ardennes, but you take a trip to the left or the right and you're lost in the woods for a long time. It's easy. There's a kart circuit in there somewhere. Down towards the chicane. Let's watch as he goes from over 130 miles an hour and drops right down through this very tricky last turn. Good job they're not doing pit stops because it's also pit entry. There's Nick Racino. Had a good run, has Nick. And I was asked before this Spa race who I thought might come to the front and come to maybe challenge some of our leading men, and Racino was one of them. He's currently in 8th. There he is, just going through La Source and down the hill again. And as I kind of expected, the field's starting to spread out a little bit, but Hurley has got the advantage by 0.6 over Savajian, and Casera has built on his lead overall. And he's got half a second, but that won't be enough at this stage to stop Hurley from catching, I'm sure. It only needs a bit of traffic for Tyler Casera, and things could change dramatically. Lawless Allen has got back and going again. He goes through Eau Rouge. And for those of you who've never been to Spa, it is quite incredible. Imagine Circuit of the Americas and effectively double it in terms of the hill and the lift and the fact that you are flat out. It's not like you get to the top as in Kota and then slow right down at the apex. You are flat out all the way through Eau Rouge, and then there's the longest straight coming after that. So it's a key component of this circuit. So Lawless Allen has got back going again. He's down in 14th. He's now battling with Boris Said. And Boris, one of the few drivers who's actually been to this circuit. He drove here, he did some testing here, and has also driven it in some of the endurance races back in the day. A little bit of damage there to one of the pink cars. Was that Doug Winston, maybe, down in 17th position in the 39. There's second place Hurley. Now, the championship playing out right in front of us as Casera and Hurley. And I just get the feeling with Tyler Casera, he's cut all his hair off for this weekend. I was alluding to it earlier. As we go back with Hurley, and we'll see the maestro at work now as he comes down towards the chicane. Now, this chicane here is one potential overtake. There's another one coming up now after the start-finish at La Source, but you've got to be tucked up closer than he is right now. Another idea is to get the slingshot here and start building on a move right here. When I say slingshot, go nice and wide or use as much power as you can early on. Tuck yourself in as Hurley is doing behind Casera now down the hill. And then at the top of Eau Rouge, pop out. Maybe not too early because you might lose a double potential slipstream, but this is exactly what Hurley's doing. And look at the air he got there. Now Hurley now lining himself up for a run on Casera. He's tucked in right behind in the slipstream now as they head down towards Les Combes. Classic Spa racing, but Casera is mindful to it and breaks very late into Les Combes and doesn't give Hurley the opportunity. And now Hurley will try to build again. And there's a couple more places, maybe 12 and 13 coming up, where he might have another pop. But this is great racing, and you can see they're in a world of their own. These two pulling away from the rest of the field. Benyahia, we just got a glimpse of him there in his own battle in the all blue and black. There he is, the young 19-year-old. He's got another 18-year-old, JP Southern, who's just graduated high school, in front of him. So it's the youngsters' battle, and then Nick Racino, who's a little bit older than both of them. But those three going down towards Pouhon. Here comes Racino. Nicely done on the inside of the entry to Pouhon. And he's through on Benyahia. And he's now going to go in pursuit of this man, the number 61, JP Southern. Through Campus Corner and down towards Stavelot. Back in the days of the likes of David Hobbs and many others, this was a road circuit, genuinely street circuit, and it was much longer, in fact. And there's all sorts of war stories of people going off course and into people's fields and hitting barns and hay bales and all the rest of it. It's a little safer these days, but it's still very treacherous. A little bit of damage to Scott Borchetta. Well, both cars, I think Doug Winston and Scott Borchetta's cars slightly damaged. And that's a shame, because I know that Scott Borchetta was really looking forward to this. He's done something like, well, he has done over 223 laps in practice leading up to this race. And given that lap takes a good couple of minutes, it's a lot of time on the sim as we go on board now with second place Josh Hurley going up Eau Rouge, and this is that view. Look at that, completely unsighted as you head through there. And now he's just not close enough at this time. What he'll try to do, I quite like the position he's in now, because he might just be able to get to a slipstream before the corner, but not this time. So Hurley will have to wait. But I think he's biding his time because he knows that really he's only going to get one real chance to overtake Casera and make it stick, and then hope it's towards the end of the race so that Casera... Oh, JP Southern and Racino in a battle. JP Southern losing out and Racino going through. Racino up to 6th place now. Benyahia still there in 8th, but Southern drops down to 7th. He comes back on the inside. Good racing. Look at this. Side by side for the pair of them as they head down the hill. And Racino's got the better line, but doesn't hold it. JP Southern says no thank you. And this is cracking racing. Down towards Pouan again. This is a flat-out fourth gear turn. And all that messing about has allowed young Michael Benyahia of Miami, Florida, to catch back up with Racino and now challenge him. I've just heard that Ben's been arrested. That's not good. He didn't pay for his beer as he was rushing up to the circuit, so hopefully the authorities will let him go and we can get him back up to the commentary booth. Ben, I told you not to mess about when you're on vacation like this. Not good. Got to learn the ways of the Europeans. Got to finish your beer. You can't slip it down. Anyway, Casera still and the gap has come down slightly. Hurley is doing a really good job of reeling in Casera, but without doing anything too dramatic. That's a very wide line for White as he goes through. The third member of the Big Machine Vodka troupe. And Dylan Archer. I spoke to Dylan just before the start of the race, and I was asking him what are the tricky parts of the circuit and what does he enjoy. He says he enjoys the Kemmel Straight. There's Carl Ryquist as well. But he said there's a few places that are still, it's one of those tracks. I don't know how many times you've been here or whether you've done a 24-hour race here. This is one of those circuits that always has something to learn for you. There's never anybody that says, yeah, I've conquered Spa. I know exactly what I'm doing. And if they did, I wouldn't believe them. Carl Ryquist heads towards Eau Rouge. Halfway, past the halfway point now of this first race. One of two races here at Spa. You see how the car gets light and almost does a wheelie over the top of the hill there as they come to the top of Eau Rouge. And now Hurley dialing in on Casera. And this is going to be a really interesting lap because Casera's mirrors are going to be full of Josh Hurley. Pennsylvania versus California. Hurley using all the track and more as they head down into Pouan. The long left-hander. It's basically a double apex. Seems to go on forever. And then down towards turn 13, which is a tight right-hander. Third gear through here. And Hurley now will try to build towards Stavolo coming up in a moment. And again, tuck himself behind, late break into Stavolo. That's exactly what he does. And again, a double apex through here. Now, this is where he's got to be good. They've got to get good drive out of this corner now, onto the back straight, past the old farmhouse. And then it's the run down to Blanchimont, which is flat out, all the way down through here. And you can see the speed as we look back from Casera. There we go, flat out through Blanchimont. Wonderful pictures here. Great stuff done by the UMG boys and Talk Motorsport. And that's another opportunity for an overtake that Hurley isn't close enough to as they come through the chicane. And onto the straight again. Now, I wonder if Hurley's just going to save himself for one lunge and one lunge only, because in some ways, with that long Kemmel Straight, I'm not sure you want to be leading. You're almost a little bit of a target. And Casera knows it. He's the man with the pressure on him at the moment, and he's got to drive faultlessly. Hurley knows it. And Hurley right now is just putting enough pressure on to try to force Casera into a mistake, and he's looked, but he hasn't tried to make that run on him yet. And you can just see he's almost holding station. I think he could get closer. He's waiting probably until the next lap or the final lap, which is risky business, but the way these two have fought throughout the season, they know each other's game so well. In fact, they've been finding out in Discord just how similar they are in their approach to racing. And like I said, there's been a bit of smack talk. Josh Hurley was telling me earlier in the season, he just watches practice until somebody beats his time. He gets on, does 4 or 5 laps, beats the time, and then jumps back off. So you might see when you get the lap charts that he's got the least amount of laps, but he's literally foxing people. So when somebody gets a false sense of security, Josh Hurley jumps back on and goes faster. Here comes Ryquist, putting some pressure on the 34 of Wood. Really only one line down this hill, though. There is an overtake into Pouan, but you've got to be right there, and he's not just close enough at the moment. Here we go. Ryquist had a good run at Barcelona. In fact, he's had some good runs all the way through as we look at Thomas Merrill, currently in 5th position, and a mistake there by Ernie Francis Jr., and that's allowed Thomas Merrill to get on top. The HP Tuners 81, going for it now on our current TA champion. And Francis Jr. just got one wheel off and it slowed him down. We go on board with Merrill. Here he comes through Blanchimont. That's a risky move, flat out. And he's done it. That is great driving. Absolute commitment there. As Thomas Merrill goes up to 4th place, Ernie Carl Francis Jr. knows his best hope of getting past is to try now. And Ernie not happy with that. Couldn't make it happen, and it's the HP Tuners number 81 of Thomas Merrill who gets through into 4th place here in the closing stages. About to start the penultimate lap now. Ernie Francis Jr. will have more time, just about, to try and get back at him. And if he stays where he is now, he may just get him down the Camel Straight. There's JP Southern, currently in 6th. Racino, Benyahia in 8th position, then Archer 9th. Wood is 10th. Ryquist 11th. Fine, Allen, Lopez, Borchetta in the top 15. Another good result for Scott, especially with that damage to the rear wing there. So to stay in the points, very impressive. Now, here comes Josh Hurley, and he's going for it. No, he can't quite do it at the end of the Camel Straight. And he's running out of time now. So Hurley getting desperate. And Casera doing a brilliant job of staying cool, calm, and collected here in the woods of Belgium. No rain anticipated. Casera doesn't have to worry about that. He's just worried about the torrent behind him that is a massive storm called Josh Hurley. And these two have gone wheel to wheel all season long. And I think they've got a lot of respect for each other's driving as well. They've both been very clean. And that's no mean feat when you're racing sims. Learned a lot about sim racing in the last 6 weeks, and it's fascinating that there is almost a bubble. You'll hear the race director talk of a bubble around your car, which you don't want to get any closer to the opponent because you can literally get in that bubble and bounce both of you out of the track. And that's exactly what Casera is trying to avoid right now, as Southern and Racino, as we go back on board with Nick Racino, chasing down the young 18-year-old JP Southern. Southern, of course, coming from Formula 3 and Formula 4. Beautiful sound echoes through the forests. And now he's got to run. Oh, he thought about it. Maybe he should try to break him into the chicane because he tried a Casera, but it didn't work. Racino now pops out to the inside. That's more of a textbook overtake at Spa because you really can't come back after that overtake. And unless you make a mistake at La Source, that is the move made. So Nick Racino has recovered well there. He thought about it at Blanchimont, changed his underwear, and then did it at the chicane after all. Here comes JP Southern at La Source. Can't quite do it there. Now Southern, last lap, will have another chance at Camel Straight. Want to know where Josh Hurley is, though, because here he is. We're going down the Camel Straight for the last time. Josh Hurley, he's got a chance. He's got to run on Tyler Casera, and this is surely the only and one time he's going to make this move. He's forced to the outside. Casera driving brilliantly, and Hurley can't do it. Casera holds on, but Hurley's not giving up just yet. Now he's going to try every which way, and they're both loose. So Josh Hurley knew his best chance was at the end of the Camel Straight into Lecum, tried it, but was left out, hung out to dry by Tyler, just holding a very good race line in the middle of the track. That's excellent racing at Spa. And now Hurley just backing off a little bit. He'll try and build up now for these last few corners to get to the back of the track and try to see if he can get tucked in behind him at Stavolo, which we'll be coming up to very soon indeed. 2 corners to go, and then just one long straight back. There's the karting circuit to the right. And now through Stavolo. Now he's got to get good drive out of here. Oh, and he makes a little bit of a twitch and a mistake, and that could be all it takes for Casera to be home and dry. Here comes the number 4. He was 4 points behind Josh Hurley when they went into this race. It's been a classic between the pair of them, but Tyler Casera has been faultless. He's driven with his mirrors. He's had 4 eyes, quite literally. 1 looking forward, or 2 looking forward, 2 looking back, because he had to. And he comes up to the last chicane now, and as long as he doesn't make a mistake here, he's home free. Hurley will take him and keep him honest, but it's going to be the Carbotech-sponsored number 4 who comes to complete Spa. And an excellent victory, and one he will remember for a long time to come, especially if he takes home the Trigon Trophy. That's been a really, really excellent run, but of course both of them now will start 9th and 10th for the second race. But at the checkered flag, Tyler Casera does it in style. We're watching as to where Francis comes across the line. Here he is now. He will finish in 5th position, just behind Merrill. Savajian gets on the podium again, Edward Savajian. There's Dylan Archer, rounding out a top 10 finish in 9th, just ahead of Ryquist. Wood will finish 11th. Borchetta is going to get up to 14th. There's his damaged car. And he just got ahead of Doug Winston. So those two, I was asking Doug Winston earlier in the week who he likes to battle with, and he said he's had some really good runs with Scott Borchetta, and it looks as though they've done it again, because Borchetta is 14th, Winston 15th, Allen just ahead of them. Boris said 17th, using his track knowledge, getting up there into the top 20. Kent Vaccaro, another single-seater maestro, down in 19th position. And a shout-out to Juan Manuel Correa, coming back to Spa after that horrific track, and we're delighted he's come to join us, racing in Miami, Florida right now as he repairs his broken leg. And we're delighted to have him on board, the Formula 2 driver. And there's Kent Vaccaro, the number 26. Another single-seater man, but racing in the States currently, and he will finish 18th. Takes the checkered flag now. But it's Casera, Hurley, and Savajian. That's your top 3 from race 1. Reverse top 10 for race 2, and I'm heading down to the police station to see if I can get Ben out and bring him back up to the commentary booth. But it doesn't matter. He'll be fine. They'll feed him. Confirmation then of the result. Congratulations to a great run under massive pressure for Tyler Casera of Pennsylvania. He takes the victory, but just half a second ahead of Hurley, who had one go down the Kemmel Straight into Lecumbe but couldn't quite pull it off. Savajian takes 3rd, Merrill Francis, Racino, Southern, then Benyahia in 8th position, Archer, Ryquist, Wood, Fine, Lawless Allen, who got turned around but managed to get back to 13th place, Borchetta 14th, Winston, White, said Vaccaro, White. Lotowski in 20th position, Juan Manuel Carrera 21st, Lopez and Toledano, his 2 friends who've joined this weekend, so they've all finished line astern with each other, probably having a bit of fun out there, Arcado and Lawrence. Not sure what happened Cameron Lawrence, but not where he should be. So that's the first race in the can. We'll take a short break here in Belgium, and we'll be right back with more from Spa. Welcome back to Spa-Francorchamps in the Forest of Ardennes in Belgium. It's a beautiful location, and thankfully no rain today. That's a very unusual time to come to this part of the world without seeing some rain. But we have had the police raining down on young Ben, getting in trouble. But I'm glad to say my wallet is lighter, but I'm back with my cohort. Mr. Ben Sissel, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you so much. They were not going to let me out, but you vouched for me, so thank you.
Well, what I did was I actually called Michael Benyahia's mother, who is a consul general in Miami for Belgium, and she sorted things out.
Oh, well, that's good. Well, whatever you did, it worked, and I'm happy to be here. I did get to see the race, and what a race that was. And I have to say, our two top guys are now absolutely tied going into this race, Jonathan.
That is excellent news. And you can see they are ready to go for race 2. A reverse top 10, remember. And that means that Archer is on pole position in the number 32. On come the lights. Out go the lights. Away we go. And it looks as though Archer's got away well. Ryquist is going well too. Archer in second place. Up the hill and up Eau Rouge they come. And it is Archer in second place. Ryquist leading. Everybody jostling for position for the first time. A 9-lap race, but the fast men are in 9th and 10th. Hurley's 9th, Cassera 10th. Let's see if they can make up some spots coming into Lecumbe for the first time, but it's Ryquist who leads them. Nick Racino on the outside in the all-purple 33. Somebody getting turned around. One of them is Nick Casino. Now, Casino, it may as well have been a casino because that's a complete lottery. So, Nick Racino gets turned around, but did he also involve some of the top men in the championship? I'm not sure just yet. Let's hope that Hurley and Cassera have got through.
Francis was knocked out in some of that. It looks like Ernie Francis dropped down to 16th. I think he and Racino got into it.
And I think Cassera was, you know what? Cassera was also involved. He's down in 13th position. Hurley has survived to 8th. There is Hurley. So, drama indeed at the beginning of this. And as you rightly point out, Ben, they are neck and neck on points. And now, trouble. Hurley's not out of the woods, quite literally here in Spa, because look at the traffic he's got in front of him. And there's 81, Merrill, who's no slouch. He's got Wood, Savajian. And in fact, Savajian is holding off Hurley at the moment. Savajian, of course, on the podium last time out as we look back from the HB Tuners, Thomas Merrill, number 81. Great backward-looking shot to see the kind of speeds they're going through the forests here. Ooh, somebody going wide. Is that Doug Winston? I think it was. And here comes Cassera. He needs to start making moves quickly. He's got Juan Manuel Correa in front of him. And for those of you who don't know that name Trans Am-wise, no, he's a Formula 2 driver. In fact, he's America's top Formula 2 driver and probably the closest American to Formula 1. But sadly, recovering from a horrific injury that he had here at Spa in the real world in Formula 2 last year. And he's chosen this weekend to effectively get those demons away. And I'm delighted for him. I hope to speak to him afterwards and see how it went for him. But I think he's just taking his time and taking a Sunday afternoon walk. He doesn't want to get in the way of the championship. And through goes Cassera. But Carrera will follow him, getting a little bit of a slipstream from Tyler Cassera. But there's what's in front. Oh, and Correa comes back at him. Good racing, but loses out. Oh, gets sideways and spins it around. Juan Manuel. Well, he got everything right, then it all went horribly wrong. Ben, you can see there's a lot of traffic up there now for Tyler Cassera to deal with. He's not been arrested again. I haven't got any money left. So, all eyes on Josh Hurley. He's currently in 7th position, but Cassera is the one we've also got to keep an eye on. He's down in 11th place, having been down in 13th position. And all that Cassera wants to do now is just stay as close as he can in position-wise to Josh Hurley. Here he is again, Cassera. 2 of the 9 gone. He's got number 89. Scott Borchetta ahead of him. And repaired that wing has Scott, which is good news for him. And the mechanics got to work in the break. Oh, there's Ernie Francis Jr. bouncing over the curbs. Ernie down in 16th position, and that's not a usual place. But then again, one thing I know about Ernie Francis Jr. is if he's in trouble, he'll sort himself out. Oh, look at what's going on in front of him. Really dicey battles there as they come towards the bus stop. Francis has got to be careful not to get himself involved, and he had to take avoiding action. Doug Winston braking very late, and Francis almost lost it there. But he recovers well, and it's great to be on board with Ernie Francis Jr. as he took the avoiding action. And everybody putting in faster slaps now. Ryquist, 2:17 now. So it's Ryquist, Archer, Southern. That's your top three. Benyahia is in fourth position. Then it's Merrill, Savajian, and Hurley. Caceres made one more place up. He's got Borchetta next. And as you can see, he's coming alongside Scott Borchetta as they head into Lecum. He hasn't made it stick, or has he? Yes, Tyler Caceres. Well, I don't think they touch, but either way, Borchetta got the worst of that. And I think he was trying to give him room, and that put himself off. But Scott Borchetta probably realized it was Caceres and realized he didn't want any piece of it. One of the things the drivers said in the driver's briefing was that, remember, there's a championship going on, and nobody wants to get in the way of Tyler Caceres and Josh Hurley. And remember, when they started this race, they're on equal points. 4 races to go after this. How exciting is this? They are currently 7th and 8th on the road. Hurley, a few seconds up the road from this man, Tyler Caceres. He hasn't got sight of him yet, but he surely will as we go back with this battle for third place. Southern and Benyahia, 2 of the youngsters. There is the Moroccan Floridan. Oh, where's he going? Just hit the wall there. I think he took a call then. No, I think he's out. Well, there's some ghosting going on there, but there is Edward Savajian. He's in 6th place at the moment. There's Hurley in 7th. Now, how far back is Caceres? We almost just got a glimpse of him there, but it's about 3 seconds Hurley's got. But with this traffic in front of him, including this man here, the Big Machine Vodka sponsored 38 of Dallas, Texas, Edward Savajian, this is not easy at all, because this is the whole field in front of Hurley. So unlike the previous race, they are not spreading out. There is less than a second between the top 7. That's incredible. And there is Hurley at the back. Now, Hurley needs to use the Kemmel Straight. That's his safest and most obvious way to get past this traffic. What he doesn't want to do is be slowed down and allow Caceres, who's just done his fastest lap, to catch up. It's not close enough as they come towards Lecum this time, 7, 8, and 9. You can see, as we look past and look into the rear-view mirror of Tyler Caceres, I'm sure he did the same, looked in the mirror to see just exactly where Caceres was, and he was nowhere. As we look back down the Kemmel Straight, we couldn't quite see Caceres, so he's some distance away, but this battle is raging on. This is great stuff. And JP Southern is just ahead of this, but this battle is Benyahia, Merrill, Savajian, and Hurley. No real room for an overtake through here. Great to see these flame-breathing monsters of Zam. Never before in our 54-year history have we raced here. But hey, it's a new era, it's a new time for racing. And 2020 will be remembered probably for one of the most extraordinary starts to a year for the whole planet, let's be obvious. And it was great. If you weren't in our previous broadcasts, I want to put a heads up to the likes of 3Dimensional Services and Kerry Hitt and many, many other companies, including Tyler Caceres' company, who have been making PPE equipment for the COVID-19 recovery. So hats off to all of the Trans Am drivers and community. Now, where is Hurley? He's still at the back of this group as they come to La Source. And he just, he's got through on Edward. Oh, he barges his way through on Edward Savajian. And Super Jens might have something to say about that. Meanwhile, look at this. Everybody getting into it. And Hurley loses out again to Savajian, but he'll have the run on him. Down the Kemmel Straight. Here comes Hurley on Savajian. He made a move at La Source, and I thought he'd made it stick. But now he's got the run on him. And he's got the better line, has Josh Hurley. And Savajian will have to give in, or does he? He keeps his foot in, does the Texan. As only a Texan would. Oh, they touch! That's the whole championship. Hurley just about escapes, and look who's coming. Tyler Casera right there with him now. And I knew this could happen because as Hurley got into a battle with Edward Savajian, he's just allowed Casera to catch right back up. Meanwhile, there's more battles going on between Benyahia and Merrill, who don't give a jot about what's going on with Hurley, because they're in their own battle right now. Meanwhile, Ryquist, we haven't seen him hardly, but the Swede is some half a second up the road from Dylan Archer, who's having a splendid day here in Spa. What a race this is turning out to be. And like I said at the beginning of the show, this championship on a knife edge right now. And I think it's going to be just as close when we finish it. We've got 4 more races after this. We're going into the unknown again for the next round, and then it's to Lime Rock for the championship decider. And back with number 68, there is Juan Manuel Correa. We're spending a lot of time talking about him, quite rightly, as the young 20-year-old from Miami, Florida, coming back from serious injury. Would you believe it? He's driving just with his left foot right now, because his right foot, which he had to have effectively bone growth to grow his leg, he lost 10 centimeters, 7 to 10 centimeters of his bone from that crash at Spa. And they're rebuilding the bone now, so he's all clamped up, and so he's driving the sim with just his left leg. So pretty impressive to say he is where he is. He's currently just outside the top 10, behind Borchetta in 11th place and ahead of Lawless Allen. There's Dylan Archer, second place man, but you can see Ryquist just ahead of him. And JP Southern not that far behind, so we've got a good battle here at the front too, far from over, with 6 of the 9 laps done. Casera does the fastest lap at 2:17.183 at the perfect time. He's still behind Hurley, but not that far behind as we go back, quite rightly, with the leaders to see if Archer can take a pop at Ryquist. Ryquist got a lot more experience of driving than young Dylan Archer, who's what we call a future Trans Am star. And of course, his father and grandfather, very famous names in the world of Trans Am. So we do hope that Mini Archer becomes a Mini Me. He's sponsored by the family name, the Realty Company. As we go back with our leader, Ryquist, and Archer all over the back of him at the perfect time. Now, as we saw in race 1, you've got to be really careful when you're in second place. You want the lead, but you've got to choose your time. And if you choose too late, as Hurley did with Casera, there's really only one major overtake, and I think you should go for it on the penultimate lap, just in case you need a second run. And Archer's looking to do just that. He's hounding him, isn't he, as they come towards Stavolo. Now he should have a run on him down towards the bus stop. What he should do now, I think, is tuck himself in, get himself as thin as he can, get his best slipstream as he can, get that little bit of extra horsepower to give him the slingshot as they come towards the bus stop, and then just jink out to the inside. Best laid plans of mice and men. It's easy from here, isn't it? And he goes to the outside. Can't quite do it. He now goes to the inside, the switchback, nicely done. He's side by side as they come onto the main straight. And this is for the lead of the race. Ryquist knows he's in a battle now. Ryquist, the Swede, holding on. They're side by side as they come down to La Source. Something's got to give. And this has been perfectly run by Dylan Archer. What a classic overtake maneuver. 3 corners to do it, but I think Dylan Archer may have got this, but back comes Ryquist. And here comes Southern into the battle. Down towards Eau Rouge. Breathe in, everyone. Oh, and up they go. And somehow Ryquist holds on. And now it's a 3-way battle, and surely now Ryquist is absolutely the target, because here comes Archer. But Archer's going to be on the outside. He's going to try to go to the inside. Great stuff. Archer goes into the lead. Here comes Southern. Archer takes the lead from Ryquist. Here comes JP Southern. 2 teenagers taking on the vastly experienced Carl Ryquist. Fantastic racing here at Trans Am. And now Southern wants by. But Dylan Archer leads the race. Could he get his first win in Trans Am? The ArcherBrothersSports.com on the back of the rear wing. And he's already starting to build on that lead as he comes through Pouhon. You can see the gap for yourself. He's got about a half a second, maybe just over now on Ryquist, who's got his own troubles with Southern. He's trying to defend from Southern. Meanwhile, Hurley and Casera are a second away from each other, 6th and 7th on the road. More drama to come from this one, and there's battles all the way through. Benyahia and Merrill still going at it in 4th and 5th. Hurley holding off Casera. Zavagian hasn't recovered from that incident. He's down in 8th as we go on board with JP Southern out of Stavolo. 5th gear, 150. Flat out, you can see he's on the rev limiter as they go through Blanchimont. Now, look at this, Casera and Hurley. Because Hurley's got traffic. Hurley does not want to be battling with Merrill right now, and he's going to get past Merrill. He does so, and that's a good move by Josh Hurley. And that could be the most important move he's made all day in the Corvette, because he's given himself a little bit of space between himself and Tyler Casera as they come towards La Source. And time running out in what has been a fascinating run here at Spa. I'll tell all about it to Ben afterwards, and I'll make up all sorts of stories, and you'll have to believe them. And Casera goes 2:16.6. He's really up the pace now. Sensational lap. That's the fastest lap of the day, I think. Faster than his pole time, than his qualifying time for sure. I think he did a 2:69 in qualifying. And now back to the front with Ryquist, Archer and Southern. Southern's lost off a little bit of time. But what a race. The top 8, less than a second. I've never seen anything like this at Spa. Now, can Ryquist come back? He hasn't had a victory yet, Carl Ryquist. And this would be a great opportunity. Ooh, and Archer goes very wide. But the good thing about that corner is you can do that. Same here as well. Spa, although it's very tricky, is forgiving in a lot of areas like this. Into turn 13, Campus and 14. No room for an overtake there. Possible overtake, but really, as we saw before, your best bet is to duck under at Stavolo and wait for the chicane. And that's exactly what Casera's thinking of doing now, but he's running out of time. He's got Merrill as the human bollard, effectively, or the Corvette bollard, because he wants by and he wants by anxiously. You can see by the lines he's taking, he's getting desperate as we go on board with Tyler Casera. Shaved his head specially for the weekend. Flat out through Blanchimont. Doesn't lift. Just a blip into 6th gear there for the moment. But most of them actually on the rev limiter in 5 as they come into Lecum and to the bus stop. And now time running out though. If Casera is going to make his move on Merrill and go after Hurley, he's got to do it soon. Meanwhile at the front, Archer under massive pressure. This is as close as Ryquist has been. The gap is 0.3 of a second as they head down the hill towards Eau Rouge. Ryquist will definitely have a chance for an overtake down the straight. And a 2:17.6 by Archer. Oh, look at this racing. Now Hurley under pressure. Big time from Benyahia. And he jinks out. And Hurley's got to be careful here. He doesn't need to get involved in this battle. He better just staying out of the way, but he wants to keep a buffer, obviously. Oh, no! Hurley gets turned round! Hurley turns around, and I don't think it was anyone's fault but his own. Here comes Tyler Casera. He's passed. And that has changed the complexion of this race. Well, there's a famous book called Lost in the Woods by Bill Bryson, and I think that's just become a reality for Josh Hurley, because that has just played perfectly into the hands of Tyler Casera. Meanwhile, back at the front, it's far from over on our final lap. Ryquist trying desperately to see if he can stop Dylan Archer, who's on his way to take the family name to another family victory, but none of his fathers, grandfathers, or any of the team have ever won at Spa, I wouldn't have thought. But young Dylan's going to do it. Unless I've just jinxed him. But here comes Ryquist. He's got one last chance, has the 46. But I don't think he's close enough. And that is absolute desperate times for Josh Hurley. Down in 8th position, but I'd love to see that again because I don't think anybody touched him. I think he was just too hot into Lake Coombe and spun himself round. Either way, Archer on his way to victory. Into the chicane he comes. And that's been a brilliant run. His overtaking and his racecraft way beyond his years. And sure enough, it's going to be Dylan Archer who takes victory here at Spa-Francorchamps as he dives into La Source. Carl Ryquist, 2nd place, and that's going to help Carl's championship hopes too, especially with Hurley finishing down in 8th. Carrera is going to finish in the top 10. And down the hill they come. There's Casera. And so Casera does finish the race in 4th position. Here comes Hurley, and he does finish the race in 8th. So that has given the championship lead to Tyler Casera. With 4 races to go, the championship very much on a knife edge still after a fascinating and enthralling Spa-Francorchamps. Well, they will be chatting heavily in the brew houses of Spa and Cologne tonight. No question about it. And there is your winner. It's got the family emblem on the side of the car, as well as the Forge Line sponsorship. And it's donuts in Spa. Tommy Archer on the side of the car, and he can be very proud with the young nipper. I think he needs to do more donuts. But that was an excellent run. So another winner. Cameron Lawrence has won a race. Ernie Francis Jr. has won a race. Edward Savagian has won a race. Tyler Casera and Josh Hurley have won all the others, but now Archer joins the winners list, and here he is. So, what a day. And no rain. And no Ben. Hey-ho. Here's a check on the results. As the quietness envelops the Ardennes, and everybody takes a deep breath to confirm those results. But it's going to be Dylan Archer with victory. We look down the famous Eau Rouge. There you go. Confirmation then. Dylan Archer with victory. Ryquist 2nd. Southern 3rd. Tyler Casera, that's the significant one. The man from Mannerheim takes 4th. Benyahia is 5th. Merrill, Savagian, Hurley. Korea finishes in the top 10. And how about this? Scott Borchetta has done it. He's told me he'd get a top 10, and he's done it. He did 223 practice laps, and it's paid off. Scott Borchetta of Nashville, Tennessee, gets into the top 10. Edward Savagian will be delighted with that result, as he's his mentor and coach. Wood, Francis Jr., Allen, Racino, Lawrence. Francis Jr. will be disappointed with that 12th place. Lawrence gets up to 15th. Lotowski, 16th. Winston, Fine, White. Vaccaro, White. Toledano in 22nd place ahead of Lopez and Boris Said. What a day here in Spa. Archer is the winner, and Tyler Casera takes the lead of the championship, and Ben Sissel is lost in the woods. That concludes our coverage of the Spa race. We've got 4 more races to go. One next weekend and the weekend after. We're going back to yesteryear next week, and then we finish it all off at Lime Rock. I'm Jonathan Green. Join us next week for more fun in the sun of Trans Am.